Hi, friends. Good evening. So I will wait for a bunch of you to jump on, but as I wait for you guys to jump on and join this live, which I think is going to be really great, I think it's going to be really motivating and inspiring for so many people who suffer daily with anxiety, social anxiety, different types of fears that cause them to be, nervous or, in certain severe cases that they can't leave their homes. So it's going to be a really interesting conversation that I get to have with a really great woman who I hope she'll see me here and we'll be able to jump on and I'll be able to invite her on via video. Sorry for the crazy hair. And I will, while I wait for the audience to kind of build here. Oh, there she is. I see her. So I'm going to add her. Hold on. Hopefully it works. Hold on. Yay! Amazing. Okay, so I'm just going to keep going with my introduction first, and then we'll get you and everybody to know who you are and caught up to speed. So I'm just going to leave her in my upper corner, guys, while the audience builds, and then I'll introduce her. So an update or fun little story, just as people kind of jump on here. So I've sucked with my juice cleanse, not gonna lie. I've been terrible, and I'm trying to just be like, you can do this, but I still am drinking the juice. And actually, my green juice today that I drank gave me like severe diarrhea. And thankful I had these bad boys hanging around because pop four of those and the diarrhea was gone really, really fast. So FYI, keep these in your medicine cabinet, guys. They're the activated charcoal that I've talked about. You can have a discount. I forget what it is, but it's on my website. So I'll put it in here a little bit later, and then you guys can look at that if you want it. So yeah, if you have diarrhea, upset stomach, food poisoning, drink too much, these guys are really, really great. So I thought I would share that. Okay, so I see a bunch of you are joining us now. And I'm really excited because we have this really awesome mom in the upper right hand corner. Maybe it's your left corner, I don't know, but I see her in my right corner. And we're gonna kind of talk to her. And this is her first time maybe doing a live, and she might be a little bit nervous, but she took her CBD before coming on, so she should be relaxed, and she looks great. And her insight is going to be really powerful and inspiring for so many people, whether you're active in the group or you're one of the ones who stands on the sidelines and kind of just watch what goes on here. So thanks for joining us, guys. And I will let the madame introduce herself and, just tell us who you are, where you live, what your life looks like. And then we'll kind of get into how you and I came to meet each other and whatnot. So just give us a little intro.
All right, I'm Kayla. I'm 27. I'm from St. Louis. I am a full-time hairstylist, a full-time mother of two. They are 5 years old and 2 years old, boy and a girl. Married. We're in our second year in our first house, and life is nuts. Life is
Yes.
absolutely nuts.
All right. So that was just her little background, and thank you for being here. And I really thank you for doing this because I think it's really important. I think you have a really great message to share. So we know that anxiety is something that millions suffer with. It's something that is really prevalent. It's something that is becoming a common theme amongst many, many people, not just women, men, women, children, from a very young age. We know that there's so many contributing factors to anxiety. We know that our gut is our second brain. We know the importance and the paramount of gut health and healing gut health. We know about diet. We know about eating good foods that fuel us and leaving and getting rid of, the dairy and the soy and the corn and the processed food and the grains and the wheat and all the sugar and all the things that aren't doing us any favors. They're causing that leaky gut. We know that serotonin is produced. I say 90% of serotonin is produced in the gut. So we know that. We know that there is this big issue with food. We know that our skin is the biggest, largest organ. Anything we put on our skin, anything that we smell in the air, it's being absorbed and it's coming into our system. And at a point, our the microbes in our gut say, forget it, fuck you, we cannot handle this anymore, we cannot fight for you anymore. So now let's start breaking down the body, and let's start going for the anxiety and the depression and the inflammation and the pain in the bodies and all of this type of stuff. And we also look to know that our food source and our food supply just really sucks. So Kayla, I don't know how long Kayla's been a follower or she's been in the group, but thankfully she's here. And we connected, and she kind of reached out to me fearful of CBD, probably not having, enough information or having the right guidance, which I hope that I provided for her in the end. And she can kind of tell you about that. And let's talk about your journey. Talk about your struggles with anxiety first before we kind of talk about the solution. Tell everybody kind of what what your days were like, when this started, when it came about, how you were coping.
Well, this was not really one of those things where I just woke up and I was like, wow, I have anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
I was probably, I think it started right after I had my son. So this has been, about 5 years ago. And it was like every day was the same. I struggled to get out of bed. And, I wanted to get up and put my makeup on and get dressed and look nice and have a great day. But I didn't want to go through the motions to make that happen. I wanted to already be laying in bed for the night, knowing that all of that had already happened.
Right.
So it was a constant battle. And I was like, okay, I don't know what to do. So me, back then, not having the knowledge I have now, did what any uninformed person would do. And I went to my doctor and I said, look, this is what's going on. I'm crying over everything. I can't focus. I can't bring myself to have the motivation to do anything that I need to get done. So I was then put on an antidepressant and an anxiety medicine. I was put on the generic for Celexa and the generic for Klonopin. And I was on those for a few years, and they worked. Don't get me wrong, they worked.
Mm-hmm.
But after about 2 or 3 years, I'm talking crazy side effects, and not stuff that I noticed right away. Imagine having such a foggy brain that you cannot function. I mean, I would have a conversation with somebody and literally not remember the words that came out of my mouth 5 minutes ago.
Mm-hmm.
I was on constant autopilot. I couldn't remember anything, what I walked into the store for, what I fed my kids for breakfast. I could not remember anything. So I quit taking them. And I was doing okay for a while. And then I got to a point where I was like, okay, this is too much again. Still too much again. So that's when I reached out to you.
Okay. And just let's rewind a little bit. At the time when this started happening, what was your diet like?
Oh, it was crap.
Okay. So like you would say, like your standard American diet, eat it, see it, eat it. Not really much knowledge around nutrition, which is common, and nobody faults you for that, for sure, because the majority of people are in that situation because they don't know better, because they don't have the education, they don't have the awareness, they don't have those tools or the outlets that myself and so many other foot runners are trying to create, to provide this information to people where they trust us, and where they start to make changes little by little. So why don't you kind of tell us what changes first in your diet have you made or changed with your family?
Oh my gosh, we have come so far in the last 2 years. It's pretty crazy. We had to cut out a lot of things. So my son is slightly autistic, very high up on the spectrum. You wouldn't know by talking to him, but I think part of that is what we've taken out of his diet. And we started with dairy.
Okay, great.
So we don't drink milk in our house. We have very, very, very minimal dairy intake. And I could not believe the behavioral changes in him. So I started looking at myself, and kind of did the same things that we were doing for him. And as far as processed foods, they're almost gone.
Great.
So we're just slowly weaning things out. And it's been great. It really has been a lot more fresh choices these days, and it's made a huge impact.
For sure. So you've eliminated dairy. Have you guys got to the grains yet?
Not yet.
Okay, so slowly, guys.
Not
So
yet, but we don't really have a lot of grains to begin with, so I don't think that that's going to take a whole lot to get those out.
okay, and what about sugar and the processed foods?
Well, our processed food intake is very limited.
Okay,
Sugar kind of already is, I mean, that's just not a huge thing in our house. I
yeah,
mean, I
that's good.
never, um, I don't know. I guess that was one of the first things I realized is that sugar needed to go. So that was kind of a long time ago
Okay, and
thing for us.
are the kids and you, are you guys incorporating a lot more fresh veg, more fresh fruits, so nuts and seeds, that are becoming more palatable and actually wanted in and around family meals and mealtime?
Oh yeah, my kids have always loved vegetables. I got pretty lucky there.
Okay,
They'll eat anything I put in front of them.
well, there you go. That's great. And your water intake, you drinking water,
Oh yes.
clean
I'm at
water?
about 90 ounces a day. 90 ounces a day right now.
Is that clean water? Do you have a good source?
Oh yeah, we have a filter.
Oh, great. Okay, so guys, so we're just, if you're just joining us, we're just talking about her, Kayla's experience with anxiety and dealing with it, and where her journey's kind of taken her. I think she mentioned that about 3 years out, things started to happen for her. Talk about kind of the side effects that maybe you didn't notice initially on the prescription drugs, but what started coming out. You mentioned the foggy brain, but what else were you starting to experience, and what were your initial symptoms? Because you said they did make you feel better, but at a point, did they stop making you feel better, and were the symptoms still very much there?
Well, they never really stopped working as far as tackling my anxiety. But, like I said, after the first 2 years of taking them, and I didn't necessarily relate it to the medication at first, but I was so tired and I was like a zombie. I mean, my brain was not working the way that it should have. I couldn't remember anything. It was crazy. And it took a little while before I realized that that's what
Sure.
it was from. So what I first did was I started looking into long-term effects of benzodiazepines on the brain,
And share with
and
people,
it's
what
scary
were
stuff.
those? What was
Um,
that? What did that look like?
well, foggy brain was really the first thing that popped up. That's kind of like the first domino in the effects of that kind of medication, all the way leading up to Alzheimer's and dementia later on in life. So that was enough to scare me into not taking them anymore.
And you had already mentioned that you were forgetting things and you couldn't really function.
Right, right. And I mean, I knew what I was like doing in the moment, as far as like my job and like taking care of my kids and stuff, but
Yeah,
I could have a conversation with somebody and have no idea what I had just said to them.
for sure. And what were you at the point? So you said, you started looking into them. You were been in my group. You'd been following along for a while. And I mean, CBD was something that I recently introduced to the group only in January. So it's not like something that I had really been sharing or pushing in the group at all until all the stars aligned and everything kind of matched up, and I found the right company, and I did my research and everything kind of came together. What were your initial thoughts when you started thinking about CBD? What was CBD to you at the very first time you heard it? What did you think it was?
Well, I was already familiar with CBD oil, not brands and things like that, but I knew that it was beneficial in every way. And whatever benefits that I could get out of it, not just with my anxiety, I wanted it, whether it be pain relief or anxiety relief or better sleep habits or whatever. I knew that I wanted it because I knew that it would be good.
Right.
But I was just more so afraid that, well, what if it didn't work? What if I spent the money on it and it didn't work?
Right.
I think was the biggest stipulation. But even not having the THC in it, I was a little worried that, okay, what if it would make me dizzy? What if it would make me feel like I felt when I took one of my anxiety pills?
Right.
So I was just nervous, curious. Um, but yeah.
Okay. And so how long have you been on the CBD at this point?
maybe 3 weeks.
Okay, so it's still relatively new. And tell everyone, coming from where you were, because, you had emailed me and you had said, I had trouble leaving the house or just performing daily routines where I could, not feel like my chest was caving in and had like the world sitting on my chest to being able to be where you are now. So just share with people, what it felt like a day in a life of someone struggling with such a debilitating, disorder.
Well, when I first tried the CBD, obviously the benefits were not an instant thing. I could feel it. But during the first week I was still experiencing the same things.
Right.
Maybe one day out of the week I would wake up in a good mood with motivation to clean the house and go grocery shopping and do everything that I had to get done.
Right.
But the other 6 days of the week I didn't want anything to do with any of that.
Right.
But I always
And
pull
she
myself
was she
together.
was also messaging me and she's like, Leslie, like, it's not working, but I haven't given up hope. Like, I'm gonna keep going. And we talked throughout the entire, your entire process.
Yeah. And after that first week, I believe I sent you a message and I was like, okay. So I realized that I've woken up 4 days in a row in a fantastic mood.
Yeah.
And that was huge. That was absolutely huge. That's not something that I've been able to say for a really long time.
Right.
And that was really, really cool.
Right. And now what are you experiencing? What are you feeling? Where are you at? Are you on your meds? Have you weaned off your meds? What was the conversation maybe you had to have with your doctor? Just share so people really understand your journey with it.
Well, actually, I haven't been to the doctor. I didn't go back to my meds. Um, I had thought about it before CBD, but now I have no desire to go back to them because I not only have the anxiety relief, the positive mood, I'm sleeping better, I'm waking up feeling more refreshed, but I don't have those foggy side effects. And it's so cool. It's such a great feeling knowing that I'm using something that is working for me and not working against me.
And it's
It's,
natural.
yeah, absolutely.
Right. And you've been able to overcome any, stipulations or stigmas attached to CBD because a lot of people think CBD is marijuana and a lot of people don't understand that
Right.
this product is a hemp product. It's an industrial hemp product loaded with all the cannabinoids without the THC. And I don't knock THC because THC is wonderful for certain people for certain things, but just not for people, I think those who are suffering with anxiety or depression, it could kind of tip the scale in the wrong way. So the fact that it's tipping you in the right way and you're kind of benefiting from all of these things and you're being able to restore and maintain, a natural life and a more, I'm sure your family's benefiting from, you having better energy, better sleep and whatnot. Um, and what else besides anxiety driven things have you noticed since you've been on it, or maybe you haven't, but are there other things that you feel that the CBD has done for you that are not related to the anxiety?
I don't really know. I don't necessarily know that my sleep habits were caused by anxiety or not. They very well could have been. But I think a lot of that had to do with my diet also.
Hmm.
But it used to be that, I could go to bed at any time and set 13 alarms in the morning and sleep through every single one of them and still wake up feeling groggy.
Right.
But now I'm waking up to the first alarm that I set and ready to open my eyes and tackle my day. And little things that used to happen, one little thing would just set me off and ruin my whole mood for the day. It just doesn't anymore because
Hmm.
now my brain just goes to, oh well, no big deal.
Right.
And that was never a thing. It was, wow, I cannot believe that just happened. My whole day is gone, and it would tumble from there.
Right.
It doesn't do that anymore.
Have you shared it with anyone in your family?
Actually, yes. I told my mom and dad about it. I really, really, really wish my dad would start taking it, and I think that they are looking into it.
Okay, great.
And my cousins as well. I've got a few cousins that are also interested.
Do you find that because you're taking it that they're looking to you now to be like, hey, um, I trust this more now because you have had that personal experience? Are they benefiting from you, seeing you and, seeing the change?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right. And I think that's what's so important and why, in the group, I so often ask people, can you please, post your testimonies and share your stories? Because, even with you, I was able to connect you with another lady who's scared to take the CBD because of how she's going to feel. And just, you being there to support her gave her, maybe a little more of a push to go forward and to try it, because people, we're all different, right? So like, I get the bottle and I'm sucking back a full dropper, and like, I don't really care how I'm gonna feel. I just want to see, how I feel. But other people, it's like a drop and they're nervous, right? So it's why I try and encourage all the people in the group who are using CBD, whether it's with their kids or their pets or themselves or their moms or their aunts or their uncles, that they post those testimonies, because they're so crucial, because there's so many people sitting in those sidelines who are wanting to take the step, or they want to make that move, and they want to try something, whether it's magnesium or it's CBD or it's the iodine or whatever. It's People like to look at other people as their guinea pigs. That's like human nature, right? Like we watch big pharma do that to people every single day, right? And they're like, I'm not going to do that, but I
Right.
watch everybody else do it. So I thank you for sharing your story here live. There's not a lot of people on the live, but I know a lot of people do watch this back. Thousands of people will watch it. And that's something else that's so beautiful in the group, that the group continues to grow, and that people are you know, coming into the group, and people are adding people to the group and they're sharing. So I think that's what's really important here. So, I thank you for jumping on and being brave to, come out and share something that's really personal, that was really affected your life probably for a long time, like you said. And now that you've kind of found this really awesome solution, moving forward. And I also think that when someone starts taking CBD, or someone starts drinking just water or something, these little steps help you move towards better, healthier habits, because they lead you there, right? So I think that's really awesome. And I love hearing, when you shoot me a message and you're just like, hey, like, this is so great, or this is what I'm feeling. I appreciate that from you, and from anybody who kind of reaches out to me to share, because that's the stuff that fuels me and drives me to be active in the group and to really push forward and to help everybody that I can. So thank you for allowing me and giving me that opportunity and including me in your own personal journey. I think that it's really special. It's really wonderful. So thank you so much. And keep sharing your story, in your own Facebook, and with your own community and your own friends, because that's a whole world of people I don't know and I'm not reaching. So really, big thank you, and kudos to you for being brave and coming on here and doing this.
No, thank you. Thank you. It's been so great, and I don't plan on stopping anytime soon.
Good, good. And keep us posted, shoot us a message in the group and say, hey, this is where I'm at. Because there's also a lot of people, who've come in who've been able to get off of medications, who, unlike you, they're still on their meds, and, they are looking to be able to get off and to wean down with their doctor, right? I can't tell anybody stop your medication. It's a process, especially with antidepressants and anti-anxiety meds. They're strong. Okay, they build a dependency in the body, and it is something that, there is a wean down period that people have to go through in order to stop. No one should stop that cold turkey at all. So yeah, so thanks for sharing that. You're welcome to jump off. I'm gonna stick around here and see if anybody has any questions, or they want to talk about anything non related to this or related to this. Um, so yeah, or you can stay in the corner. It's up to you. Whatever you want. But I'll take it from here, and I'm going to talk about a few other things briefly, and see if there's anybody who has questions, or if there's something that other people want to ask, just to do a bit of a Q&A here.
And if anybody, I mean, I can kind of scroll through the comments too. If anybody has any questions for me personally, I can totally answer those too. So I'm going to jump off. Thank you so much for having me.
You. And guys, if somebody wants to reach her, just find her name and send her a message. She'll be happy to answer if you don't feel comfortable putting it here here in the comments, okay? And as
Absolutely.
she drops off, I would love to answer any questions. If anyone has any questions that they want to ask, regardless, whatever it is, holistic related, I'm happy to answer that. I'm going to scroll back here to see if there's any questions or if there were just people kind of jumping on and saying hi. So for those of you here, do you have any questions? Is there anything? I haven't really Q&A in a little bit. So if you have any questions or if something you want to know or ask, go for it. If not, we can leave it here and I can jump on in another topic. You're so welcome. Thank you for being here. So if there's anybody here who has any questions, ask. If not, ta-ta. Good night, good evening, good morning for where some people are. It doesn't seem like there's a huge audience here. So what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to end it tonight, but I will schedule a few more lives with some great topics coming up soon, so look for the posts. And thanks for joining us, and thank you again for Kayla joining us and being brave and sharing her story about her journey with anxiety and her solution of CBD oil. Good night, guys.